Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the free will body. So in one of my previous videos a while back, I referred to what's known as the Universal Law Maps, and through that Universal Laws Map video we understood the 6 universal laws that was in the shape of a Merkaba, or star tetrahedron, and that these represented that of the masculine and the feminine laws. Well, one of these laws that we're going to look into more in detail today would relate to the idea of free will. And if you want to look at the Universal Laws map, then you can just go to one of my videos on my channel and you can check it out, as it goes into a great amount of detail pertaining to those 6 universal laws. But today, we're going to look more into the free will body. So with the free will body, we want to look into this because we want to go a little bit more deeper relating to how our sense of continuity works. Well, what do I mean by that when I'm looking into the aspect of continuity? So here we are in the absolute dead center of our reality. And of course, we have 2 branches here. And these 2 branches are part of free will. We have choice. So, utilizing that idea pertaining to these branches about here I am in this very moment, here and now, and now before me, there's a fork in the road. Do I go left or do I go right? Well, I want to make that particular choice. So I may decide to go right instead of left. So here I am in this moment, moving my feet, exploring this choice based upon action. So through action, I go to the right. But what about the left? Is the left still happening? Of course it is. But we don't experience ourselves going to the left of that fork in the road. Instead, we move forward, we start following the right path, and we venture through action towards what that path represents ourselves, because we told ourselves, my choice is to go this way. So why don't we experience the left path? Why don't we experience that perspective relating to going left instead of how we are going right? Well, that's because of the free will body. You see, the free will body helps us to work with only experiencing the choices that we make within this reality. That is how continuity works. Continuity follows the choice of the free will body. So as I've talked about as well too, is that you have the ability to move past free will and come into the idea of decision, which means you're getting past the illusion of choice and you're coming into the idea where decision through spirit is guiding you and you don't even have to make choices anymore. And of course, that is still valid. Nonetheless, we are looking at all of these possibilities in this little square that surrounds us. Should I go to the 12 o'clock position, the 9 o'clock position, 3 o'clock position, etc.? Where should I go as it relates to this aspect of choice? Well, as soon as we have that thought about where should I go, what should I do, all of these branches are therefore happening at the same time. They are simultaneous. But because we have a free will, we have a free will body, we exist within the law of free will, we only experience the effect of choice. Free will equals choice. So because we are in a free will body, we don't experience that left path. We don't see that phantom aspect of ourselves moving into the left and finding out what adventure, what journey, what experience that version of ourselves went down. That again becomes a probable reality. We can also refer to it as a parallel reality, but I refer to it as probable reality. So we are only able to experience that aspect of probable reality through our mind. But when I decide to walk over this side of the camera, well, hey, there's another version that wants to walk over this way. But I'm not experiencing that version that wants to walk over that way at the same time. I move over this way, right? If I'm waving my hand at all of you instead of doing it like this, right? I'm again making a choice. Another version is doing this only by itself instead of this. You get the idea, right? This all has to do with the free will body, which means that in this reality, we can only experience what our choices are. The ability for you to function under the law of free will is for you to only experience your choices. And that's why this is a governing law within itself. Because we say, well, there's free will, but is there really free will? Is there this and that? Well, yes, there is. There's choice. Because everything that we make is a result of choice. So, because we are bound as one of those ones of the 6 universal laws, we are existing together with the nature of choices. So the free will body can only experience the continuity based on our choices, based on our decisions. That's our free will. So for me to get up in the morning, come downstairs, brush my teeth, have a shower, etc., all of these are the symmetry, the continuity of choices. Okay, here's me getting up out of bed. Here's me going downstairs. Here's me having a shower. Here's me brushing my teeth. Here's me making breakfast. I experienced that entire dimensional line because it was through choice. Choice will overshadow probability. That's why we are not able to experience a probable reality through the physical context of this body in this physical reality, is because we have a choice body. We have a free will body. And everything that validates itself through the nature of choices, we experience fully, vividly, physically. And that is the nature of the free will body. Because we get into this feeling of, well, Brad, if parallel realities do exist, how come we're not able to fully experience those parallel realities through a physical body? It's because we have a choice body. We have a free will body. And that free will body is only allowing us to experience the nature of our own choices, the nature of our own decisions. We cannot go popping into another body that would represent a probability. Our mind can do that, but this physical body, no, it can't. It is contained in a physical reality. It is contained in this technology relating to a physical realm where we are again blazing our trail. And as we are blazing our trail, we only experience what we choose. So again, I'll say that again. We only experience what we choose in life. You cannot waste so much of your time being hypothetical relating to choices you haven't made. Oh, back then, yesterday, when I was faced with this choice, why did I make that decision? Why did I do this? Oh, what was I thinking? Why didn't I do this instead? Shouldn't I have done this instead? We get into the hypothetical game. And of course, through the aspect of the probable reality, we play with mind. We play with mind almost to death because we are so hypothetical. What if this happened? What if that happened? I should have done this. I should have done that. Well, what happens if this thing takes place? We get lost with the hypothetical probability reality. We are stuck in probability, many of us. And very few of us are actually contained here in the present moment, being mindful of the choices that we make. I'm guilty of that myself. I have quite a rambling mind myself. But again, we get stuck in probable reality. We forget that we are here in the free will body. We forget that we are here to make choices. We forget that we are here and now. Okay? And a now body also is a good example of what I'm talking about here, pertaining to free will, pertaining to the free will body. So, are choices an illusion? Yes, of course they are. Because when you actually start to make decisions, you're not in a state of confusion, right? Choices are made to try and alleviate confusion, but they still cause confusion because many of us who make choices will still be based upon the idea of feeling that I don't know what's ahead, so I guess I'll just select this because maybe this seems right, when in fact it doesn't, right? We respond in haste. We make choices in haste. It's only when we are able to go deep within, when we are able to work with ourselves, doing inner alchemy, inner transformation, bonding with spirit, connecting with our true essence of soul, of spirit, that we are now able to see what is ahead, and we just start to move. We don't have to make all these choices that branch off more and more and more choices. And now you're just feeling like you're wandering a maze, right? That's the nature of choice. Our choice is the feeling that we're going to try and alleviate confusion. We don't actually know if that is going to alleviate confusion, but we have something that represents a type of settlement. So we have a settlement in the agreement of where to move. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go forward? Do I go backward? Do I go side by side? Where do I go? So this here, this circle, would represent the noosphere. Okay, as I said, there's many different ways to spell it. Sometimes you can take this out, noosphere. You can add a K as well too. The noosphere. It's representing the idea of the now moment, of every perspective that exists here and now, inside this bubble that we understand as reality. And that everything pertaining to these dots is the idea of choice, is the idea of perspective. So there's a perspective of me that went left instead of right. There's a perspective of me that didn't go to high school. There's a perspective of me that married somebody else. There's a perspective of me that has another friend who I have never met. All of these different perspectives exist. They are all simultaneously coexistent. But because we are within a free will body, we cannot really experience these perspectives through the physical body because it has a law governing it. And that's the law of free will. That is the law of choice. That is the law of confusion. That exactly is what the free will body represents. And here we are in the noosphere with countless of these little countless forms existing in the noosphere. All of these dots, all of these stars of perspective. And it's endless. It's boundless, it's endless. You're looking at your own life, you're looking at the lives of others, you're looking at yourself on other planets, in other dimensions, in other realities, in other fabrics of consciousness. It never ends. It's just this sphere where everything is still. But it is through that nature of causality, which is also part of the universal laws, mixed together with the idea of the free will body, where we experience space, time, dimension, matter, through the ability of us making choices, and therefore creating this aspect of movement, this illusion of movement, because every reality is a static frame. And so it's just piles and piles of these static frames being put into this projector, and here we are, projecting this living physical reality, and only being able to experience what our choices dictate. Nothing else is possible relating to experiencing reality in this way, which means your choices are paramount based upon what you create for you to perceive your reality, which means your choices are creating the perspective of your reality. So this is what we call creating our reality. We are creating the choices that we make to allow ourselves to perceive reality the way that we prefer. It's not about manifesting a loaf of bread in your hands out of thin air. You can't get something out of nothing, not in this dimension. What we are doing instead is we are looking at how our choices, the choices we make, are indeed the creation that allows us to grant a greater perspective about how reality itself operates. So our choices are the creation. Our perspective through choice is allowing ourselves to get a greater grasp, a deeper grasp of how reality itself is through us. But we can only understand the appearance of reality. We can't understand the grid. So if I put a grid here in this noosphere, and that grid personifies the idea of the reality matrix, we can never perceive that. Not in this form, not in this physical reality. We can't perceive this grid of reality. We can only perceive the appearances that come through the grid for us to understand relationship, how we connect with everything, how we connect with everyone. It comes through the nature of appearance. Appearance is telling us, I have a relationship with this person. I'm experiencing this event. I'm choosing this path. All of that comes through a third universal law, representing that of rapport. So I'm going to be getting more into these universal law videos. But again, I'm showing you just a relationship of how, again, through the example, causality, rapport, working together with the free will body, helping us to understand what reality is. We cannot perceive the grid. We can't perceive the grid of reality through this physical reality, through this physical form, through this understanding. We need an interface. And in order for us to have an interface, that comes to the ability of working with rapport, to have the nature of relationship. So relationship, rapport, is helping us to understand the nature of reality, which means we can only understand what we are in association, relationship, rapport with. And it comes down to a simple summary. Okay? God only knows what you know, which means that everything pertaining to the Creator can only explain to us, can only share with us, can only show us what we know, whether it be conscious or subconscious. And again, this is when we're going to get a little bit more into the nature of rapport, or the law of rapport, that God only knows what you know. And it is through our choices that we develop experience. It is through experience that we develop knowledge. It is through this knowledge that we accumulate that develops into wisdom. But we can only know what we do through the nature of rapport. If we do not have rapport with anything, it would seem non-existent to us, right? And again, this is what philosophers, psychologists refer to as the unconscious, okay? Really, nothing is unconscious. It's just the idea that we don't have a familiarity with it. We have to make choices through the free will body to have some particular type of rapport, association, connection, relating to that criteria, content, information that is there so that we clue in. But that's the nature of the strength of rapport. Rapport can take you very, very deep because relationships are malleable. So I'm not going to try and go too much off of rapport today, but I want to show you again how everything here just connects. This is how all 6 universal laws connect with each other. They feedback off each other. They work together with each other. So we have the idea on the masculine level relating to that of causality. We have here through causality, karma, which will be another video, of course. And of course, FW, which I'll call free will. Then on the feminine aspect, we have coherency. Then we have rapport. And we have correspondence, which I'll just refer to as CORR, okay? As above, so below. As within, so without, etc. Okay? These are the 6 universal laws. And they all work together within each other. Everything really coexists as sub-laws within these laws as well too. If I was to say equivalent exchange, well, equivalent exchange has to do with coherency, has to do with karma, has to do with rapport, has to do with correspondence. It all connects together. So it's a living energy, it's a living being. The universal laws are consciousness. It's a living being that governs this reality. It's a membrane. So looking into one of these universal laws pertaining to free will helps us to better understand the choices that we make and the importance of the choices and decisions that are before us, because that's how we experience reality, through ourselves. That's why we don't experience these phantom, probable realities, because they do exist, but because we haven't experienced the action of choice upon those realities, we don't experience them through the continuity of our physical body and of this physical reality. So choices are a buffer. They're a filter. They're telling us we're only going to experience in reality through our bodies, through our existence of being here on this planet, to understand exactly how we progress in a life by making those choices, by making those decisions. And that's why when we make a choice, everything just continues to follow suit through the nature of continuity. We may get lost in mind pertaining to the idea of hypotheticalness. Why didn't I go there? Why didn't I go there? But again, that is taking yourself out of your choice reality, of your decision-based reality, of your free will reality. And that is exactly why we have a free will body, to experience the fullness of life through the realization of the choices, decisions that we make to further expand ourselves, make ourselves further aware, understand greater knowledge and greater wisdom together with our free will bodies. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brad Johnson, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. May it be well with you. Namaste.